ꯑꯩꯒꯤ ꯃꯤꯡ ꯎꯁꯝ ꯅꯤꯡꯊꯧꯈꯣꯝꯕ ꯃꯤꯇꯩ ꯑꯩ ꯏꯪꯂꯤꯁꯀꯤ ꯑꯣꯖꯥꯅꯤ. Hi everyone. Today we'll be doing the fifth chapter of class 8 English supplementary reader, Bitter Gooseberries. Bitter means that strong taste which most of us don't like. For example, the taste of a nomanka plant, so that is called bitter. Then gooseberries is a fruit just like the Indian gooseberries. Haikru have the adugumbagi type amaniko. So today's story is a Burmese folktale retold or rewritten by Ruskin Bond. So do you know where is Burma? Burma Burma, which is now known as Myanmar, is our neighbor. So we actually have an age-old relationship with the country of Burma or Myanmar. So we share boundary with this country. So the border town of More is a very popular place in the border of Myanmar and India. So, and talking about the writer Ruskin Bond, he was born on 19th May 1934. He is an Indian author of British descent, and he writes lots of stories for children. So he is a recipient of various awards like Sahitya Akademi Award, Padma Shri, and the Padma Bhushan Award. So today's story, this is a very interesting story. Besides the story itself, the way the story is written is very interesting. It seems that the writer is interacting with you. When you read the story, you will feel like as if the writer himself is talking to you. So as the first line of the story goes like this, this is the story of the snake and the gooseberries and much else beside. So be still, don't interrupt, and don't ask questions. See how the writer is talking to you. He wants you to be still, don't move, don't interrupt, and listen to this story. So then in the next line, he even asks you, are you listening? So see how interactively the story has been written. Sige wari sidang asagi writer sina nang pariba nang reader nang wari sana bagi type ta nang butari bro, are you listening kaina ga hairaga ko. So he is writing in a very interactive way. So it is a good story. Now let's start the story. There was a snake and he lived in a gooseberry bush. So in a bush of gooseberry, he lived there. And every night, this snake turned into a handsome prince. So at the same time, there was also a woman. She had 3 daughters called Magi, Ma Lat, and Ma Nge. So these are names of the Burmese ladies. So it may be hard to pronounce. So she had 3 daughters, Magi, Ma Lat, and Ma Nge. And Ma Nge, the youngest, was the nicest and the most beautiful girl. Well, one day the mother of Ma Nge had to go out to fetch gooseberries from the forest. So they were bitter gooseberries. Burmese ladies call them jibuti. So just as she was starting to pick gooseberries, the snake who lived in the gooseberry bush hissed at her. And as much to say, be off, back off, handokro haibagi type to go. Mana hissed away. The snake remembered that this was the mother of 3 daughters. This woman, she is a mother of 3 daughters, and he liked her daughters. The snake liked the daughters of this woman. So since they were all beautiful, so he changed his mind about sending the woman away and waited for her to speak first. So he didn't harm the woman. Instead, he waited for her to speak first. Then this woman was a great businesswoman. Masi yamna business yamna haiba, technique yamna haiba, poche yonba, leiba, kasi yamna haiba mi oy ko adu manupi yamani. So the woman said, please give me a gooseberry. Then women are always wanting something. It's a part of their business philosophy. So they should profit, they should earn. That is the philosophy of them. So she said, please give me a gooseberry. But the snake said, no. Why? Because he was a prince. And a prince will never say yes very easily. So that's what he thought. The snake thought he was a prince. So that is why I'm not going to say yes at the first instance. So he waited again. But she knew that everybody liked her beautiful daughters. Then the woman said, if you like my eldest daughter, Magi, so give me a gooseberry. He didn't care for Magi. So he didn't like her very much. So because he knew that she had a terrible temper, she gets angry very easily. So he gave only 1 gooseberry. Mana gooseberry piece ama khaktang piyo ko because hujiki machanupi ahal dudi mamna short temper or terrible temper or saugale. So he didn't like her very much. Then she said, if you like my second daughter, Ma Lat, give me another gooseberry. So the prince knew that Ma Lat had a squint. Squint means a weak eye. So caused by some weak eye muscle. Mid muscle. There are some people who have some difficulties like that. So one eye looking to one direction, one eye looking. It seems that the other eye is looking at another direction. Mid shape that is called weak muscle. So this Ma Lat, the second daughter, had a squint. So but he didn't want to hurt anyone's feelings. So he gave the woman another gooseberry. The woman was very happy that she was able to get the gooseberries. So for the third time, she said, and if you like my youngest daughter, Ma Nge, so give me another gooseberry. At that time, the snake trembled so violently. From top to tail, his body was trembling, was shaking, that every gooseberry fell off the bush. The snake prince was giving all he could. For the snake prince knew that Ma Nge was the youngest and the nicest and the most beautiful of them. So he liked her very much. And the woman gathered up the gooseberries. She put them in her basket. Then she was proud of her business technique. She was very proud to get all those gooseberries. So on the way, she met 3 signposts. Sign takpa, this way, that way, takpa signposts ko. Adugumba signposts ahum. She met 3 signposts and give each one of them a gooseberry, saying that if a snake comes inquiring, asking which way I have gone, don't tell him. So, but point in the other direction. So if I go this way, point that way. So this is what she said to the signpost. And one funny thing, in that place, all the signposts were popular of telling wrong direction. So the woman was saying not to tell the real direction. It means that she wanted the signpost to tell the real direction. So mana ngasai signpost mayam se mokhui gi lamda seran turan ta ebo ko somna chatlo hagadabudo somna gumba takpos. That is why actually she wanted the snake to follow her. So that is why she said to the signpost to tell the wrong direction, so that they will tell the right direction. So, and another one, in this story, you will find that everything is done 3 times. For example, the number of daughter, 3. Number of times the woman asked for gooseberries was 3 times. And the number of signposts again was 3. So, and the rest you will find later on. So the snake followed the woman, came to her house, hid himself in a large jar, and when she came to get something, he slid out. He came out of the jar and coiled round her arm in the manner of a prospective son-in-law. Son-in-law means the one who marries one's daughter. That is called son-in-law. So if you love my daughter, Magi, the eldest daughter, so let go, let me go, cried the woman. So the woman was pretending to be frightened. She was actually not really afraid, because she was pretending. She was acting to be afraid, because she knew quite well that the snake was a prince. So that is why she wanted the snake to follow her, because she knew that this snake is not a normal snake. It is a prince. So but the snake hung on. Then the woman said, if you love Ma Lat, the second daughter, let go. So let me go if you love my second daughter. But the snake hung on still. Then he was waiting for the woman to mention her third daughter and the most beautiful daughter. So the woman said, at last, if you love my daughter, Ma Nge, the third daughter, so let me go. So to this, the snake was so happy that he turned himself into a handsome prince. So he came into his human form. The woman wasted no time in getting him married to Ma Nge, the third daughter. So in many of the stories, this might be the end. But as the writer says, in Burma, stories don't end. So writer na the writer is saying that in Burma, stories don't end. They just go on and on forever. So this story will not end here. The daughter, now the wife of the snake prince, was not happy with her husband, only becoming a human during the night and spending all his day being a snake. So she wanted her husband to be normal, to be as a human. So she was also a wise woman. She just like her mother. So she always met her husband to do work. So all she did was to find her husband a job or a work. and the prince was always busy in his work that he now he was forgetting how to turn himself back into a snake. He forgot how to turn himself back into a snake as he used to do. Lin on because his wife was giving him jobs all the time. He forgot how to turn himself back into a snake. But since the prince stuck to his job and worked so hard that sometimes his wife felt quite lonely. So actually the husband had a beautiful secretary, and this was encouraging him to work overtime. And so when he came home late and went straight to bed after dinner, the wife began to scold him and complain of his indifference. So see, at first the wife wanted her husband to work because she wanted him to be human, not snake. Now the husband was working more and more. Now the husband was not giving enough time to his wife, so the wife was not happy. So one morning, the husband became so disgusted, so sad with his wife, constant nagging, scolding him all the time, so that he found he could remember the magic spell and immediately turned himself into an enormous snake again. So he remembered how to become a snake, and he turned himself into a big snake. Then he started swallowing his wife. The wife called out to her mother, "Mother, help me." Then at first the mother thought it wasn't harmful. The snake prince might be just playing with Ma Nge, the woman's daughter. Then when she went into the room, she found that the snake prince had entirely swallowed Ma Nge. So give her up at once, cried the mother. To that, the snake replied, "Not unless you agree to my terms. First, I am to be a snake whenever I feel I like it. Second, I am to be a real prince and go to work only when I feel I like it." So the snake said, "How can your daughter love me if I come home tired from the office like any other man? So you wanted a prince for a son-in-law, and you got one. Now you must let me live like a prince, not like a normal human being." So the mother agreed to his terms, and he unswallowed his wife. He spit out his wife, and from that day onwards, the two women did all the work while the prince sat in the veranda drinking, sitting under the hanging orchids kumba thaba leidugi makhadaga phammaga veranda da nuaina phammaga drinking a wonderful beer made from the bitter gooseberries. So he was now living like a prince, making his wife and his mother-in-law doing all the work. Okay, that's the end of the story. So this is a very funny and interesting story. See, kamain toki nga sagi snake prince to nga sa kidoeba woman do na magi mother-in-law do na magi machanupi ahum di manung da ama di luhong again nakhalaga nam do na luhongan kre. Then again, the snake prince forgot to turn himself into a snake. Why? Because the wife was giving him lots of works to do, and because of that, he was forgetting how to become a snake again. Then again, last ma adum normal human being oi kibra oi dego. Madiam notorious oi ba snake amu on me amu on to pamjaba, and that is why at last Madi adum snake on musungom kre, and at last the two women, Ma Nge and her mother were doing all the work now, and this prince was enjoying the life of a prince.